Okay. It's Doom! Bet. Not just any Doom, right? This is running on a SEGA 32X, which naturally sits atop a Mega Drive, but it's also sitting atop a Mega CD. Oops. Forgot to bring the mic closer to me. It's the most unholy of combinations. 32X Mega Drive Model 2 and Mega CD Model 1. I'm sorry. Okay, real quick. I'm just gonna show this. I can run in higher detail. And it still runs pretty well, but I'm going to favor performance and smoothness. Ah, yes, look at that. So, when I started this little 32X film journey, I assumed that at some point I was just gonna play the retail 32X Doom, which it's serviceable as a game. It sounds terrible. It really is not particularly well optimized. Oops. So, I'm not an expert on the subject, by any means. There's an official project website I can direct you to, I'll put a link in the description. But the quick and dirty, like, Cliff Notes version is this is not a hack or modification of 32X Doom. This is basically a port, and I guess also a bit of a hack, modification, whatever, of Atari Jaguar Doom, which was one of the better versions from back in the day. Because you have to understand something, like, the joke now, and it is kind of funny, it's like, you can run Doom on anything, like a thermometer, a pregnancy test, a gas station pump, you know. But in 94, 95, it wasn't a given that any computer system could run Doom, especially run it well. Like, even on your PC or Mac, it wasn't really a given that it was going to perform well. Like, when my dad and I got our big box copies of Ultimate Doom and Doom 2 for Mac, those were really sweet big box copies. Like, by that time, we had a pretty decent Mac setup, like, so I remember the game running pretty well, you know, unless I really went tried to go overboard with the video settings. But it wasn't a given that the game was gonna run just like with 0 issues at 60 FPS, etc. Especially when you got into the weeds of homebrew WADs that started to really push the engine's limits, or even Doom 2, like on some of the really big levels. A lot of shit going on, it's like... man, wasn't always roses. So having a home game system that could run a nice version of Doom, like, that meant something. And at the time, that's why the PlayStation Edition, in addition to, like, its new lighting effects and then its own soundtrack, was like, very different, but also, like, pretty damn awesome. If you prefer a moodier, more atmospheric and creepy soundtrack. Kind of like what's in Doom 64. But this shows that a clever programmer that takes advantage of multi-core processing, or I guess, however you want to put it, like, multiple processors in tandem, like Mega Drive, 32X, and in this case also Mega CD, like, some of the 32X's workload has been offloaded to the Mega CD sound driver, so get even better performance. Now, full disclosure, I was attempting to get Doom 32X Fusion up and running, which goes above and beyond and basically does a conversion of the PC games like Ultimate Doom, Doom 2, and a small part of Final Doom. Plus, you know, the kick-ass FM synth soundtrack, but also the ability to run CD quality sound, like, for example, Andrew Holschultz's amazing IDKFA. It's rearranged score. It's so good. Problem. I could not find anywhere in the Bad Timelines internet where I felt safe. I'm not risking my computer just to download some damn video game files, okay? I couldn't find anywhere, like, where I felt digitally safe to get a ready-to-go 32X Fusion package that had, like, all the assets needed. So I relented to just running this. This still kicks all sorts of ass. It's like, honestly, and a lot of ways it puts, you know, PlayStation, Jaguar, etc. to shame. Kill the hit scanners first, just to be sure. Kind of like nuking them from orbit. I want to put that on a t-shirt or a mug. Kill the hit scanners first, just to be sure. But I understand that the people involved in the Doom 32X Resurrection project want to cover their asses and avoid the wrath of anyone at id Software, or more likely Bethesda and Microsoft, since Microsoft owns the whole shebang. So officially they want you to use the Doom 32X Fusion files that are safely, easily, and readily available to patch the Doom WADs and such. And then make your CD and put it in the Mega CD. Here's the thing. I bought Doom, especially the first game, legally like 5 times, if not more, across different platforms. Like, I have the PlayStation long box over there. I bought it on original Xbox, Xbox 360, Switch, Xbox One, which extends to Xbox Series. And yeah, there will come a day when, for preservation sake, I need to figure out how to back up those legally purchased digital copies, and in some cases physical copies. But I don't have the means to do so in the here and now, and it doesn't help me. And I'm not buying Doom 1 and 2 again on Steam. I have no interest in playing games on Steam. Just to get this up and running. So, here we go. But my thing is, I agree with supporting the official release of Doom 1 and 2, which is now on the Kex engine. It kicks all sorts of ass. But that's not the original Doom anymore. I mean, it... Don't get me wrong, it's faithful as all hell. And it runs amazingly well. But, like, the original, you know, 1994... Was it 93? When did the shareware come out? I forget. But let's just say 93, 94. Like, that version is no longer commercially available, and John Carmack has released the source code. So I'm kind of like, why are we wringing our hands and clutching pearls over distributing the files needed to run the original build of the game and its assets, etc. Because, you know, I'm not trying to sling mud by saying this, but, like, the people who worked on this port, you did an amazing job, but, you know, you didn't have any problems reverse engineering / decompiling, rebuilding, and now freely distributing Atari Jaguar source code for Doom. So, one thing that's technically against the rules is okay, but another isn't. I'm just putting it out there. But if you've watched my channel for a while, well, first of all, thank you, but also you should know by now that whether we're talking about officially licensed retail releases or indie homebrew projects, I really do my best to be respectful and courteous to developers, programmers, artists. Like, these people work really hard on this stuff, and it's often a thankless task, and especially for a lot of these retail releases that had issues, like, often they were in a serious time crunch and may have had to have too many things juggled at once, and compromises had to be made. Sometimes there were hardware limitations that they just didn't have the time to get around in ways that modern programmers can do, because they have the luxury of not having a deadline, at least. You know, their financial careers aren't on the line if they don't deliver, you know, products by a certain time. However, I didn't realize until I already had this up and running and given it some testing that there is one person on this dev team that I have no respect for, and because of how insufferable and grating, disrespectful and rude, etc. they are in all of their interactions on the internet. Trekkies Unite, I'm like, this is the last and only game I'm going to run on my hardware that they've touched, because I find them that abrasive. And that means there's a lot of Saturn fan translations that I won't be playing because, you know, they had a hand in the programming to some extent or another. Oh, why did I? How many times have I played Military Base and I still do that sometimes? Okay. This yellow door. Okay. But yeah, you know, it kills me that someone in any way refers to himself as a Trekkie, and yet is so absolutely terrible at living up to the example of Star Trek or any of Gene Roddenberry's ideals. Hey, when you're an awful person to deal with, and you have entire Discord servers that never want to interact with you ever again in any capacity, yeah. You should probably check your behavior. Also, someone, I forget which website it was, doing a little miniature review of this, said you can't circle strafe in 32X Resurrection. This is incorrect. You just have to rebind. You have to do a mild rebinding of your controls, and then it's fine. Come on, walk into my chainsaw. You can do it. Good boy. So good, though. This sounds good, it runs great. It looks good by the standards of the time. Like Like, this is another one of those titles where it's like, it wouldn't have saved the 32X. Nothing would have saved the 32X as it was presented. But Doom at this quality definitely would have made the device more fondly remembered. And at least it would have better shown off, like, the kind of capabilities that SEGA was touting in all of its marketing hype BS at the time. And, you know, the official 6 CD 32X games that did release were just FMV titles, and, like, yeah, they were better than the Sega CD versions, but it didn't make the whole setup worthwhile. It's like, hey, this actually makes use of 5 processors at once. It kicks all sorts of ass. Like, this is actually the kind of thing... Hold on, let me backtrack. Some of you probably remember Tom Kalinske once infamously saying, like, 32X is gonna outsell PlayStation and Saturn. It's like, well, it was never gonna do that. But, for Doom, it's outperforming both of them. Now, the Saturn one got the shaft, because there was a really cool custom Saturn version being made, and John Carmack killed it because the textures didn't look right. Like, dude, a Saturn custom edition that actually utilized its unique 2D capabilities and put VDP2 to use with its magic, like, that could have been really special, but anyway. We may never know, I don't... Unfortunately, there may not be any surviving builds of that version, so... I just have a moment for how freaking cool the soundtrack sounds in FM Synth. Like, this is the correct way to utilize SEGA FM Synth hardware, yo. Like, it might sound sacrilegious, but I'm like, do I like this better than the original MIDI? Oh shit. I know the Super Nintendo also did, like, some interesting stuff with the soundtrack, too, so it's like... I don't know why I'm languishing in this maze, there's not really anything good to extract from it. You want to try that again? Get the fuck out of here. I'm having fun. Get wrecked. Tell you, once you get used to the feel of this on the SEGA 6-button controller, like, this is nice. Just wish I had that one extra button on top from the Saturn pad, but it's still really good. You know, I hear tell this is compatible with the Mega Mouse, and I actually have a Mega Mouse. Maybe I'll have to break that out for the next part of the episode. One more. Yeah. Damn it! When I turn the corner, I know better. How many times have I played this damn game? I know better. It's better to keep going and then go through the secret door, grab the soul sphere. By that point, the infighting will have cleared some more of them out. You know, having a death on Thy Flesh Consumed, or even Inferno, it's like, you know that. It's bound to happen now and again, but knee deep in the dead, I'm like, oh, it just makes you feel like a scrub. Okay. Yay, teleportation! It's so satisfying. I mean, I've played this. This is probably the only game I've played as much as Sonic the Hedgehog. We're past dozens of playthroughs. We're in the hundreds. Not as much Doom 2. Doom 2 is probably like a couple dozen times. Great game, also a classic, a legend. But some of the maps in that game were out there welcome. What is it? Chasm? I think that's one of them. Especially if you're playing the whole game in one sitting, it's like, man, I am tired. I don't feel like tightrope walking in the Doom engine. It sucks that in this build there's now light amplification goggles. It's survivable here, but I'm like, there's some parts of the game where I'm like, how's this gonna work? Did I get them all? It sounds so good. Central processing, more like blast processing, am I right? Oops. Stand on the elevator, and then proceed. Whoa! That never gets old. Okay. Can we have a moment for this vintage SEGA hardware running all of these dead bodies on the floor with all the effects and everything still running smoothly? As much as I think Doom 2016 and Eternal are great games, and, you know, remarkable accomplishments in many ways, what's the deal with all the enemies just turning into, like, magic red ash? Like, why can't you see any of the carnage or destruction you've left in your wake? It's annoying. Computer station! I better see a lot of computers here. Kids, that's what we call door fighting. Except that door stays open. All the hit scanners back here. Don't want anyone sneaking up. Getting cute. Being cute, that's my job. Well, at least there's one computer map. Does that count? I don't know if you can pick this up on your end the way I can in the headphones with like that extra little sizzle of the hardware. It sounds like, it's like this might be more menacing when you really let it soak in than most of the other arrangements I've heard. I know any that are done with like a real orchestra or anything like that would be pretty difficult to top, but that never gets old. Come on in, the water's fine. Oh, I know there's at least one of you creeping around in there. There's one creeping around somewhere, but... Different from the original, but entertaining. I thought I got a lot more of them with the rockets. Well, we get the little text scroll. It's not the same as the old ending for Knee Deep in the Dead, but... And it'll automatically start us on Deimos Anomaly, but... But I'm gonna call it an episode here. I'm still going to see what I can do about getting 32X Fusion running. So when I pick up this little playthrough mini-series in part 2, it might be picking up exactly where we left off with this build, or it might be 32X Fusion. Who can say? But I had fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part. Well, Future Jessica. Is it still Future Jessica if it's like past? Getting chronologically confused here. Maybe it's the 32X effect. Anyway, one of the versions of me will see you in the next 32 Bits of Doom.